So, can you guys tell what's different about this assignment?
Yeah.
It's like equals 0.
Alright.
Not a big X.
You didn't hear me that.
Yeah, so everything we've done earlier in this week just looked like that, something like that, right? And we just factored it. But this assignment looks more like this, so it's an equation. When it's an equation, we can figure out what x must be to make this stuff equal. We can solve for x. Now, everything we've done before this, we couldn't figure out x because x could be anything. It doesn't matter what you plug in there. But if it's an equation, there's only a couple things that will work to plug in for x here. So, but what we're going to do is still use factoring. It's mostly factoring again. How does this left side factor? What goes in the front? X's. What goes in the back? What multiplies into 8?
4 and 2.
That adds up to 6. 4 and 2. Now, that's not the answer. We still don't know what x is yet. We're almost there. So. Okay, this basically says this times this equals 0. How do you multiply to get 0?
0.
One of the factors needs to be 0, right? So we need to choose an x that makes this factor 0 or this factor 0. What x value would make this factor equal to 0? Negative 4. Kind of the opposite of that, right? Or what would make this 0? Negative 2. So those are the two possible answers.
Do you also want the x plus 4 or x plus 2 equals 0? And answer?
Oh yeah, this would be showing your work. You do not have to copy the problem down. That's not necessary because it's just kind of busy work. But I do want to see that line. And then the answer. Number 3, a squared minus 4. Okay, kind of the same thing. Alright, hope.
A.
What multiplies into 45?
5.
5 times 9. How do we use 5 and 9 to get negative?
Negative 9 plus 5.
Okay. That's the factoring. What values for A would make these factors 0?
Positive 9 and negative 5. This is like the second question. So
Can you shut up?
dang!
Thank you.
Thank you. So polite.
Okay,
You're so polite.
I love you, Brayden.
I am.
Alright, this one has a new trick. It's a new trick. I did that last
Why
time.
would you say that? You're the one to talk?
Okay, how could we factor this one? Is it a square minus square? Is it 3-term factoring like the last two? No. What can we do?
Take stuff out.
Take Z.
Take a z out. Both terms have a z in there. So we put z right there. What's left if I divide these two by z? 2z plus 7. Okay, so basically we have z times this equals 0. So we need, what would make this factor 0? Well, let's go over here. 2z plus 7, we want that to equal 0. How do we figure out what z is here? Yeah, do a little bit of algebra here. 2z equals negative 7. So z is negative 7 over 2. It's a fraction. Okay, why was this one a fraction?
Because it was a good number.
Because there's a number in front here. Okay, you could do that every time, but there is a fast forward trick. So pretend that 2 wasn't there. What would z have to be?
There's
-7. So it's not -7, it's -7/2. Get it? We'll do a few more of those as we go, but if you forget, I guess you could do this. Subtract 7 divided by 2. But, okay, what about this guy though? If there's a z right there, what else could make all this equal 0? What could I put in for z to make all this equal 0? 0. If there's a z in front or an x or whatever, if there's a number in front, if I put a 0 right there, it doesn't matter what all this is, 0 would work. Even if there was like 4z cubed right here, if that was a 0, 0 times all this stuff is still 0. So anyway, 0 is an answer.
So any problem like that, 0 is the second answer?
Well, there's not an order to it, it's just they're both answers.
Or any problem like that, 0 is a answer?
An answer, yes.
Ow, ew. That's all you feel.
This is my, so,
Racism is so.
I hate you so much.
Very ironic. So much.
Why are people,
You gotta, like, eat
Okay.
a lot.
What
you look like you.
what makes number 7 a little bit harder?
There's more.
There's a 2 on the x squared term. Okay, so what's, let's see, Shannon, what's gonna go into the front?
X,
X and
2x.
2x. Okay, what could go into the back?
-5 and 1.
Okay, it could be -5 and 1, could be 1, -5. Which one do you want to try? I think you might have been right the first thing you said, Shannon. -5 and 1. Because if we go like that, the inside is -10x, which gets us close to that, and the outside is 1x. And if you add those together, you get -9x. All right. So, Shannon, what are the possible answers here? X could be what? 5? Or, do you remember how I said to do this one? If there was no 2 right there, what would the answer have been? -1. So it's -1/2. -1/2.
Whoa.
Let's choose a comma.
That's weird. I feel like a Davis.
So, 5 minus 5 is 0.
6, 37, 56.
So 5 minus 5 is 0, and 2. Yeah, and basically that is, take the 2 out, so then it'd be -1 + 1 is 0. So then you just put it on the bottom.
So she's saying if it had just been x plus 1, the answer would be -1. You can just do the opposite of that. But if there's a number on the front of that, it's -1/2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just trying to understand.
Yeah.
What I got.
Got it? All right, Issa, what might go on the front of this one? Could be 2 and 3. It could be 6 and 1. I'll give you a hint on our books. They like the ones in the middle, like 2s and 3s instead of 6 and 1. Now, that's not necessarily going to be right, but that's what I would try first. What's the first thing you think of that goes into 56? 7 and 8. Okay, there are other things that go into 56, like 2 and 28, 4 and 14. I would definitely start with the times table, 7 times 8. So, what do you want to try, 7, 8, or 8 and 7?
7 and 8.
Guess wisely, and we won't have to do it over again. All right, let's see. The outside is 16, I think you guessed right, and the inside is 21. And I do believe those add up to 37. So you're right.
And that's why
Issa takes
You need to be
charge.
locked up for a very long time.
What?
Issa, what would the answers be?
-7 halves. -8 thirds.
How do you know this so well?
Actually, I can't talk because I'm half cat.
I feel like I'm still stupid because I don't know how we just got there.
He just likes it.
Which part? The last part or the?
Yeah, the last part.
Stop.
Okay, if it said just S plus 7, what would the answer been?
Oh, okay, never mind. I get it.
-7, but
Yeah.
now it's -7/2. Okay. I lost my place. -32m -12.
Or
All right.
Probably better just say yeah.
Olivia, do you know what's gonna go on the front here? 5m and m, yes. And back? That's good, yeah. Or it could be switched, but let's try what you said first. I think it is backwards, but that's okay. So right now that's a 3. Right now the outside is 15m, and the inside is -7, and that makes 8. So yeah, I think it is the other way. Now the outside is -35, which is close, and then the inside is +3. And that does add up to -32. Alright, so that's the right one, Olivia. What would the answer for this one be? Huh? What m value would make this equal to 0 right here? 7. Remember this one? What would that be right there? So pretend the 5's not there, what would the answer have been? -3, but now it's -3/5. Okay. It's always a fraction when there's a number up there.
man.
Alright, 13. 13's weird looking. Did you say
13, Taylor Swift.
what?
That's 13. Taylor Swift. Why haven't you done that
Been like every single
time?
day.
Every single
It's
day
just
this year?
like-
Isn't she like 30?
Because that's her favorite number or something?
It's her birthday number. Yeah.
Isn't that like a really like
She
a
was
monthly
born
number?
December 13th. Oh my God.
I think
What about
13
Friday
stands
the
for
13th?
witchcraft.
You know that.
Jason Bourne.
Alright, Ava, any ideas on this one?
Is it cut? Wait.
Is it like 3-term factoring?
This is 2 terms, so I just take out an x.
Yes, let's take out an x. It's not a square minus a square because there's no square root. Nothing times itself equals x cubed. But you can take an x out because there's an x in both of them. So if you divide these by x, they're just going to lose one of their x's.
Now would it be square?
Now it is a square minus a square, yes. This is like number 3 from yesterday right here. So what's that turn into?
X minus 2 plus 2?
Yep. Okay, what would make these equal 0?
Positive 2 minus 2.
Okay. You guys remember how we could write? Yeah, we could write it like that. But what if there's an x in the front though? Ava? What if there's an x in the front?
That also be 0.
Yeah, because if that's a 0, 0 times whatever this stuff is would still be 0, right? Yeah. 0 is another answer. Girls. It reminds me of my brother eating cereal when growing up.
What?
Cereal.
Sugar.
You get a big old bite with all the milk and you. Like, can you chew that any louder?
We now have that on video, so.
He tried, he couldn't.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when people are eating and they scrape their teeth against their fork or spoon and like for real, it gives me like the shivers.
It actually.
The worst sound, you guys might be too young for chalkboards, is nails on chalkboard.
Oh yeah, that's not that bad though.
It's bad.
It's
I mean, I
It
don't
makes me want to
actually
bite
do
my
it,
cheeks
right?
to like counteract the weirdness.
Montana hates repetitive noises.
Most people do. Okay, we're in the B section, number 15. What changed on 15?
Yeah, it's in my.
Right at standard form.
Okay, well, it's not slope intercept. It's not equal to 0 like all the other ones were. So we can't use that 0 trick unless it's all equal to 0. So we need to make it equal to 0. So how can I make all this equal to 0? I'm just going to pull it kind of all to one side. By the way, it's a lot easier to factor if your squared term is positive. So usually you want to move everything to the side where the x squared or y squared is positive. So how do I get rid of 4y on this side? Minus 4y and get rid of the minus 4? Plus 4. So that'll like clean up my right side. And then just do the same thing over here. Now, does any of this mix? No. So we're just kind of just copying it down. There's nothing over on the right anymore. So now it looks like number 1. And we're back to the, back to the good old days. All right, so y, Anya, what multiplies into 4 that adds up to negative 4? 4 and 1 multiply to 4, but they don't add up to negative 4. Nope. Now what else goes into 4?
2.
It's 2.
Yeah. 2 and 2, but to add up to negative 4? Negative 2. Okay, this is a rare one because it only has one answer. So yeah, y is 2.
Yay.
Are you excited about that, Grant?
No.
You fooled me.
Oh, okay. I'm a very foolish person.
Okay. 7x equals 8 minus x squared. All right, Shelby, what do you think about 17? Okay, she's gonna move everything to the left by subtracting 8 and adding x squared over here. Now, you do probably want to put it in the standard order, so what should come first? X squared. X squared plus 7x minus 8. None of those mix. You can't add any of those together, but all right, but now it's ready to roll. What multiplies, Shelby, into negative 8 that would add up to 7? Huh? Close. 8 and negative 1. So the answers are and because these are equations, you could check the answer, right? If you plugged it in up here. it makes both sides equal, it's right. Of course it'll work better.
I wanted to go on the back page.
This would be a 2-day assignment.
Yeah, it's
Well, I was thinking maybe a day and a half.
But like Monday and Tuesday, like they're the last.
Are we actually gonna do
Like
work
Friday is
on
like
Monday and
the
Tuesday?
last day.
It's just stop.
But like.
Whatever
like,
excuse you're making up. Let's,
Dang. I feel like this should be a 2-day assignment. I'm just gonna say, we're already in B section.
yeah, we're getting close to done.
How can we do
No.
20? Why do we gotta do 28? Yeah, then we just go to.
Because I want to do some problems from the third
Just
section.
skip down there.
Nah, you guys need more practice.
Where were we?
Wait, am I on the right one? Yes, okay, 19, 5 equals 6b squared. How about this? We'll just do, we'll have everybody do an odd, so that means 3 more, and then we'll call it good for a day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Forrest, what do you think?
We subtract 5.
Yeah, Forrest said subtract 5 because everything would be on one side over here. We just have a 0 on the left side, which would definitely be the easier way to do it. Okay, what might go in the front, Forrest?
It could be 2 and 3.
Could be 2B and 3B, probably, I think it was, if I remember from last class. Could be 6B and 1B if this doesn't work though. And what goes in the back?
Trying to think. Let's do plus 5. Or okay, plus 1 minus 5.
Plus 1 minus 5? Okay, the outside is negative 10
Oh,
B
dang.
plus 1B, negative 7B.
Yeah. It's supposed to be minus 1 plus 1.
Alright. So the answers are,
It would be let's see, negative or plus 1. Negative 5.
Look.
you girls remember when I had to separate you?
Which time?
Don't remind me of all those other times.
Willow!
I was even about it.
You're saying you want to do one, is that what you're telling
No, I really don't. No.
me? No.
It's funny because square minus square. Like I was
Huh?
How do you do that thing where
So now it's
I used to do it.
yes, today.
You can.
I was wearing
Make it look like
it's so cute. 17.
What goes into
I
that?
don't know if it's forever.
What goes into negative 4? You take the square root, you use the square root of both, but one of them has a plus, one of them has a minus. 3x and 2.
Oh, wait. No.
Okay, how about this? Willow, you can do the first step, and then
Oh, okay.
Grant, you can do the last part. So, what should we do?
Minus 2C squared.
Okay, you could do that, but it's easier to factor when this one is positive.
Oh, okay. So minus 7C minus 3.
Right.
Stop it.
Okay, so when we subtract those over, we get that, and then Grant, what's gonna go in the front?
Okay, we could do 2C in sight, and then we could do 5. No, that's
Alright.
horrible. That's horribly wrong. We can do 6. Wait, no. Wait, the thing's right. Come on, Grant. Lincoln, 6 and 5. 6 goes last, 5 goes first. And
Okay, yeah.
It's negative 6 in the back and 5 in front.
That's right. Okay, yeah, if we put -6 back here, that makes -12, and then 5 in the middle, and that does add up to that. So Grant, what would the two answers
The
be?
two answers would be -5 over 2, and 6.
Alright. Did they save the best for last? I hope you're not talking to me.
No, I was talking to him. So I'm going to 24.
Yeah. We'll call this a day and a half assignment. I don't know what else we'll do on Monday. We'll do something else.
Mr. Jordan, have you ever cried over math?
SAT terms?
Cried over students and math.
Was one of them my I'm crying right now if you can't tell.
The SAT is for math, right?
Oh,
These are one of the
why does he have
challenges.
an eye up to the water?
If I was a teacher, I'd go home.
Oh yeah, we could maybe do something.
I'm crying. Look at my tears. Well, I was tearing up because I actually started crying.
The SAT has
Probably 'cause
practice
I
SAT has nothing to do with our grade, right? So
Don't do that.
You stupid.
Just to see how we're doing as a school. See our strengths
I'm
and
gonna find all the
weaknesses.
right answers and click the wrong answer on purpose.
Then it'll make it look like you know nothing.
Huh?
You'll look like you know nothing.
She's just covering up for the fact that she's not gonna know anything.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay. Eli, what should we do first on this one?
Subtract 3R over.
Okay, bring the 3R over. So we got 10 squared.
Next, you take an R out.
Okay, an R comes out of all those.
Then you split them up.
Let's just guess what can go into that.
2 and 5.
Probably gonna be 2 and 5. And what goes into that?
1 and 3.
1 and 3. One of them's gotta be negative, right? To go with the multiply into -3.
It'll be plus, it'll be -1 plus 3.
Alright, let's see if you got it right. The outside is 6R. The inside is -5R. And that makes 1R. So you did get it right. Alright, what would the answers be though? Shh.
R would either be -1/2.
No.
Would be, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, positive half, or it'd be -3/5.
Yep. Or
Positive.
there's an R out in front.
0.
0. So yeah, 1/2, -3/5, and 0.
What's your favorite ice cream?
I bet it's like Rocky Road.
Huh?
What's your favorite ice cream flavor? He looks like Rocky Road.
He doesn't look like
Yes, just ask her
No,
any
he
questions.
looks like chocolate.
definitely says
Your mom definitely.
Maybe strawberry.
Probably, I don't usually buy ice cream, but the most often would be
Cookie Monster.
cookie, chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's it.
That's just
That's my favorite. That's still ever eat.
Get out. Yeah.
Why? What's your favorite? What'd you say? Mint chocolate chip. Ew.
I just met you.
That's not bad.
Some people think mint tastes like toothpaste.
Mint chocolate chips underrated.
I like
I already see so many.
chocolate chip better than I like mint chocolate chip.
Ew, that's
I
chocolate.
see.
It's your thing.
I see wages. Wages is next to computer graphics, computer
I
programming.
got the 10 scissors.
You could probably see more, but there is.
I really need to do this.
Put
it in her hair.
Stop it. And it slowly went down and all of a sudden it was gone. It fell on my arm. Well, no, it
All three.
2.
Great.
I'm gonna need
I didn't do anything.
It's a fun.
You need a